Hello everybody, Wonky Puppy here, and today I wanted to share with you some of my top 10 tips for new players getting started in Graveyard Keeper. Now I've been putting tons of time into this game recently, and there are several things I've learned along the way that I really wish I had known earlier. It would have made my life a lot easier. So I wanted to share some of those with you guys so that you don't make the same mistakes I did. Tip number 1 is to unlock soft spares immediately. Soft spares is one of the technologies that you can get in the technology tree. It's super cheap early on, and it gives you the ability to remove blood and fat from corpses on your autopsy table. Removing those will replace red skulls in your corpse quality with white skulls, and that is by far one of the things that will dramatically make it easier for you to improve the quality of your graveyard. So do that as early as you can and start using it on corpses that come into your morgue and your graveyard. Tip number 2, don't try to repair all of your graveyard decorations when you first get your graveyard. I tried to do this and it was a massive waste of time. It took me forever to figure this out. Instead of repairing everything that's there today, you can just remove the old broken stuff and craft new ones and replace it with the new stuff. It's way easier in the early game to craft new headstones and new fences than to craft repair kits. It will take more energy because you'll have to craft the new item, take the old item off, and then put the new item on, but it's well worth it in the early game to improve the quality of your graveyard fast. Tip number 3, start farming as early as you can. There's farmable land along the path between your graveyard and the town where you can grow crops. To start that, you have to interact with the blueprint stand that's right there in that area, and you'll get a note that tells you to speak to Herodric. Go talk to Herodric at the Dead Horse Tavern, and he'll give you permission to farm the land, but he'll tell you to go deal with the merchant as well. At that point, you can buy some seeds from the farmer near the wheat farm, and you can till the land and start farming if you want to. However, you won't be able to craft anything other than the normal farmable plots. So it's a good idea to talk to the merchant as early as you can to start the full quest line for that farm, because that'll give you the ability to make farm plots with sticks for like trellis crops, and compost heaps. Compost heaps are great for producing peat and maggots. Peat can be used as a fertilizer to improve the quality of your crops if it's a crop that has a quality score. And some people say that it also improves the number of seeds yielded from harvesting crops, which I think needs to be proven, but if that's true, it's definitely worth the effort to do that. Farming is a great way to make money early on in the game, especially growing wheat, turning that into flour, then turning that into baked goods and pastries. It's also great for energy replenishing items. Tip number 4 is to start fishing as early as you can. Fishing can be unlocked by talking to the fisherman who stands outside of the front of the lighthouse. He's only out there during the day though. He will give you a basic rod if you trade him 6 moths. Gathering moths is simple enough. All you have to do is harvest flowers at nighttime. Different fish will become available at different fishing locations. There's also different fish based on the time of the day. So some only come out at night, some only come out in the morning, and some require specific baits or are harder to catch and you need a better rod before you're able to catch them. Better fishing rods can be bought from the fisherman as you level up his merchant score by trading with him. So if you start farming and fishing early in the game, you can create a steady income without depending on the burial certificates from corpses that are delivered to your farm. Tip number 5, don't be afraid to make food to replenish your energy. You go through energy ridiculously fast in this game. By crafting some simple food items in your kitchen, you can have a steady source of energy to replenish what you're using throughout the day. If you're already farming, you can use some of what you generate to craft those items, and it'll go a long way towards making your days more productive. Tip number 6, level up your tools early. Energy, again, is by far one of the scarcest resources of the game in Graveyard Keeper, so you want to use it as efficiently as you can. The rusty tools that you start out with only have 70% efficiencies, and they break quickly. You can upgrade them to the level 1 tools very early with one of the easier technologies to unlock in the technology tree, and you can craft them from a wooden anvil, so it's relatively inexpensive to make them. These level 1 tools will bring you up to 100% efficiency. They last a little bit longer, and effectively what that means is like if you're using a pickaxe, you get a free swing of your pickaxe for every 3 swings that you put in there. So those benefits really do stack up fast when you're mining things. Tip number 7, Unlock the quarry as early as you can. If you follow the path north of your house past the B area, you should arrive at a blocked path. You'll need to gather some resources and expend a lot of energy to clear that path, but it is well worth it. Once you have cleared the path and navigated through the forest, you'll arrive at the cabin in the woods and then the quarry. In the quarry, you'll find an infinite source of coal, iron ore, stone, and marble. Additionally, you can set up another crafting area outside of the cabin in the woods. You can even sleep in that cabin and replenish your energy. So it's a really great kind of second site for getting a lot of resources. When I need resources, I'll just camp out there a few days, gather lots of coal, lots of iron, lots of stone, lots of marble, and just spend a few days sleeping in the house and expending my energy and getting as much as I can. And then I'll process everything and bring it back to my main build site. Tip number 8, unlock the church as early as you can. You can unlock the church and it'll give you the ability to hold sermons and then access the church basement. Accessing the church basement unlocks a whole bunch of things for you. Sermons that you deliver in the church will also generate faith, which is another critical item in the game for performing research, and it's necessary for advancing a lot of the quest lines as well with NPCs. Once you can access the basement, you'll have the ability to start generating the blue technology points from the research table. And that's definitely a really big deal for advancing your technology tree. In the early technologies that you can unlock, you're not super dependent on the blue technology points, but you'll quickly start needing them very fast, and you really can't get to them unless you're in the church basement doing science and research and those types of things. Tip number 9, don't waste the initial faith that you get. When you start out with the church line, you'll have some faith to start out with. However, the basic sermons that you're able to deliver in your low quality church, you won't be able to generate much faith to replace the faith that you spend. What's a really good idea is to use that initial faith to generate enough blue technology points for unlocking the basic theology technologies and writing technologies. So get access to the desk, get access to the ability to create upgraded sermons. In addition to getting upgraded sermons, you'll need to upgrade the quality of your church by building new benches, new candelabras, and new confessionals, things like that. By crafting a better quality sermon, even a bronze quality sermon over the basic one that you start out with, and building out new church items, although that takes a lot of effort and it is resource intensive, it has a radical effect on the amount of faith that you can generate. The difference for me in just doing some basic stuff was being able to go from generating 1 faith per sermon to between 8 and 12 faith per sermon. So it's definitely well worth it. Tip number 10 is be picky about what corpses you decide to put in your graveyard. You have to build up that graveyard score initially to make the bishop happy and get into the church. But going even further with that is a really good idea. While the church quality greatly affects the faith that sermons generate, the graveyard quality affects the amount of donations that you get from worshipers who attend your sermons. When I first started, I was just putting every corpse that I got into the graveyard because I wanted to get those burial certificates so I could sell them and make money. Don't do that. That will definitely come back and bite you later. It's better to build up your graveyard score, and that'll generate significantly more money in the long run through church donations. Instead, if you get a low-quality corpse, just chunk it into the river. There's no real negative consequence to that other than you won't get the burial certificate, which you can sell. Alternatively, if you've unlocked the ability and have the resources, you can also cremate or burn the body to get a burial certificate without having to put it into your graveyard. Alright, well that's it. Those are my top 10 tips for new players starting out in Graveyard Keeper. If this video helped you, please leave a like below to let me know that. Comment down below with any other tips that you want to share with other players. Don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with everything going on the channel. Join the Discord to get involved with the community. And until next time, I will see you all in the next video.